Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone has had a great week and a great day. We are just going to go ahead and get started right now. My name is Paul Rodriguez. I'm with Greater SATX and SA Works, and I am the Talent Development Director. And we're here today to talk about Alamo Fellows. We'll get through all the main components of the program and then allow you to just ask a few questions and we'll just kind of go from there. Monica, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Hernandez. I'm also part of Greater SATX, part of the SA Works team. I'm excited to be here. I am a graduate student at UTSA, so not too far behind y'all. But yes, we're excited to share a little bit more about the program tonight.
Awesome. And just a really brief point of clarification, because I know it can get kind of confusing, but if you're looking up at this virtual screen right here that I have in my background, Greater SATX is a regional economic development foundation. That is the larger organization for us. SA Works over here on the left is the nonprofit and 501c3 that is inside of Greater SATX, and that's where Monica and I are housed, and we are part of the team within Greater SATX that's very much focused on workforce development and in particular educational programs. So if you know a little bit about us, you know that we host a variety of opportunities with internships, job shadows, et cetera, for both K-12 high school students, as well as now college students and students enrolled in community colleges. So we really run the gamut. But yes, that's just a brief introduction on that. But first, Monica, I just wanted to ask you real quick, as we're kind of talking about college, we're talking about internships today. What was your first internship that you ever had? And also, as you were kind of navigating college, how did you start to think about what you wanted to do after graduation?
I guess for my first technically internship, I was a third year undergraduate student, and I got the opportunity to intern with an organization on campus that conducted outreach to high school students. And my role was basically, I guess, reviewing applications, making sure that students were notified of our program. And I really feel just interning in general changed the trajectory of my first career because I've transitioned into another career now. So it was really important for me to start networking with folks and sort of learning a little bit more about what I wanted to do after graduation. That was as an undergrad, and now as a graduate student, I've also had the opportunity to intern here with SA Works, and interned right after completing my internship. I was offered a full-time role. So I feel, the work that I did really reflected what I was studying. And, as a result, I was able to hop on board as a full-time beginning in August. So I really think changed sort of the trajectory of my decisions and opportunities with folks.
That's really great, Monica. I mean, the one of the key things I think that's great and what we want to be able to offer through this opportunity is the internships that don't just happen and then they're kind of forgotten with, or what happens after that. We want to be able to put all of that, the Alamo Fellows participants, into internship opportunities that can really seamlessly, turn into a full-time gig, right, upon graduation and maybe even before graduation, right? So that's really great. I mean, I know, for me, kind of going through college, I knew that education was kind of a route that I was very, very interested in. And I actually didn't do an internship until I was a master's student, and that was with a nonprofit in Los Angeles called the Broad Foundation in Westwood, just down the street from UCLA. And so for obvious reasons, it was a great experience, a really great time, but I definitely wish I had gotten some sort of an opportunity during my college years, but that ended up being very transformational for me as an educator and someone that now still works in the field of education. So that's great. Yeah, it's great to share our experiences, but I see we have about, I don't know, 8 or 9 guests with us here today. So, I really want to thank everybody for being here. We'll definitely provide a recording of this webinar for you so that you can share it with some friends. We'll post it online. We'll post it on our website, but just want to thank everyone for being here. And we might be able to get through a lot of this really core information within about 20 minutes or so, and then we can kind of ask some questions, and we'll be kind of monitoring the chat as best as we can. So just to get started with our little bit of an agenda, I'm going to go through some PowerPoint slides real quick about some of the core requirements of Alamo Fellows. We're going to talk a little bit about some additional topics, namely, STEM and first gen. Those are a couple of things just to clarify, real quick today here. And then also let's take a look at the application, right? I mean, similar to when you're completing assignments in school, you need a little bit of time leading up to that point to kind of get organized, figure out what you have and what you need, how to access the application, and then making sure that you're dedicating enough time to really give yourself a good opportunity and all that. So we can talk about that as well. So I'm going to screen share real quick. And you'll get a look at my calendar there, but then also we'll just kind of take a look at some slides here. As this loads. All right, so again, essay works, good shot of the pearl right here. We're here to talk about Alamo Fellows. Alamo Fellows is a brand new talent retention program for first-gen students that are attending our local four-year institutions. And we want to be able to equip our fellows with a variety of different career, community, and social connections that will really help those internship opportunities and your aspirations really transform into a career based here in San Antonio, right? We have such great things happening at all our four-year institutions. And this is an initiative specifically to try to harness all of that great talent and keep it here in San Antonio, or at least just provide an opportunity for you to really see what that can look like, right? So again, talent retention, we want to be able to retain first-gen STEM talent here. So that's the long and short of it. We want this experience to actually lead towards you staying here in our community, right? And with four-year local institutions, we're talking about UTSA, A&M San Antonio, UIW, Our Lady of the Lake, St. Mary's University, and Trinity University in this first inaugural year, because you guys are going to potentially be a part of the first Alamo Fellows cohort. Okay, so again, the community aspect of the kinds of connections that we want you to have can come in the form in a variety of ways. In one sense, we want to be able to put you into internship opportunities with local nonprofits. We believe that that's going to be a great way for you to get involved with the overall fabric and the social context of our city, and what are some of the things and the different kinds of great work that we're doing here, right? We also want to be able to provide a lot of career connections for you, and those can be more closely aligned with your aspirations, with your career and major interests, and primarily in STEM fields, right? So you could find yourself in an internship with Biomed SA, with Toyota, with Navistar, even with some of our banks, right, in town, like USAA, that have really prominent infrastructures for students that are interested in cybersecurity, business and financial analytics, right? Those are definitely really good STEM areas that can be focused within those kinds of organizations. And then finally here, the social piece and the kinds of connections that we want you to have that's kind of the fun aspect, right? About you being able to engage in a variety of different professional development opportunities, tours, mixers, right? Different events, Spurs games, Fiesta, concerts at Paper Tiger, right? We want to be able to provide a whole host of really great experiences like that. That's how you create a lot of that stickiness that is hopefully going to keep you here in our community. And we'll also do a lot of these things in partnership with other sort of young professional groups in town so that you have an opportunity to meet other folks that are just like you. Some of them might be graduate students. Some of them might be already in those first couple years of post-college life. Some of them, might also be a little bit more in their late 20s or 30s, right? Really, really deep into those careers, but still definitely considered young professionals that can mentor you and provide some of those really key connections, right? And so a brief scope of this timeline is we're talking about this webinar here today, the application being due June 13th, right? Having an announcement of that in July, press announcement in September, and then during the first fall semester coming up 2022, really using that semester as a time for orientation, onboarding, 2 or 3 really big events, and as a cohort, as an Alamo Fellows cohort, allowing you guys to kind of mix in and mingle and get to know each other before those internships start in the spring of 2023, and then going into your final year of the fellowship, right? So just kind of going just straight based on that, I wanted to go ahead and Monica, if you can see the chat, just let me know if there's any questions coming up here. A couple of things that I wanted to mention is if you go to the Alamo Fellows website, which you can see right here, and there's links that we can put into the chat. But if you've seen us on LinkedIn, there's all kinds of links there, but it's basically alamofellows.com. So if you open your browser, type that in, it should pop up, right? We were having a couple little technical issues, so please let us know. And just on that note, while you're doing that and kind of jotting a few things down, go ahead and send me an email or click on my LinkedIn link if you want to connect. But I'm at paul@greatersatx.com if you have any questions at all. So just a couple of things there. But one of the things that I wanted to direct your attention to is we have a section here on frequently asked questions. So if you click on the one that says fellows, it'll bring up this PDF and you can take some time to sort of read this. It's going through a few things that we just covered about some of the core requirements. But first of all, one of the really key components of our program is the emphasis on first generation, right? How is that defined, right? Most of you are attending Hispanic serving institutions, that house a large number of first generation students. And by and large, that's being defined as students who have neither a parent nor guardian that did not complete a 4-year degree in the US, right? So that can encompass a lot, right? That can mean that if you have a sibling that completed college or attained a bachelor's degree, you are still considered first gen. So that definition is pretty important. But again, just let us know if you have any questions along those lines in terms of if you fit that definition, because it can really encompass quite a bit. The other question we've been talking to a lot with a lot of our stakeholders and different partners and our university partners is just about the definition of what constitutes STEM these days. I can tell you that it's now very broad. I think it used to be very rigid in terms of thinking of it in terms of the hard sciences like chemistry and physics, computer science, right? Obviously all of your engineering majors and then mathematics. But it really encompasses a lot more. If you click on this link right here, it'll take you to this document right here, right? And again, this is from the Department of Homeland Security, and in conjunction with the US Department of Education, they put out a list of what is considered to be STEM fields at this point in time, right? So as you can see here, right, we're talking about engineering, biology and biomedical science, math and statistics, physical sciences, but there's also an additional 18 other fields that fall within STEM that can be within other areas that most people may not consider to be STEM. I'll give you a couple examples. If you're enrolled in a college of business at your institution and you're a finance major or you're in accounting, if you are doing work that is heavily based in some form of statistics or statistical analysis or business analytics, this is the right program for you, right? On the other side of the spectrum, if you're in the social sciences and you're in psychology, anthropology, sociology, fields of study like that, if you're also dealing with quantitative studies, if you're interested in geographic information systems, GIS, right? If you're doing a lot of those kind of more robust methodological, statistical tools, et cetera, then this is the right place for you. And it's great that it's kind of been broadened in that sense, right? So this is a good list right here. If you spend some time going through, this list is extremely extensive, as you can see here, right? And it's because if we think about it in terms of all the different majors and fields and areas of study at colleges across the country and in K-12, it can really bring in a lot. So if you're not sure if you're in a STEM field, you probably are. But again, just let us know if you have any questions about that. Monica, I wanted to just pause real quick just to see if there were any questions that we can answer.
And I did drop some of the links you mentioned in here in the chat for you all to click on.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. All right.
We have a question from Linda.
Okay.
So Linda her major is electrical engineering, graduated in December 2024. The two question is, do I have to graduate in the traditional academic calendar, i.e. graduate May 2024, or can I still be eligible to apply? And the second question is regarding if international students are eligible for the opportunity.
Yes, international students are definitely eligible for this opportunity. And second, yes, if you have if you're looking to graduate, you said December 2024, absolutely, please submit an application. We'll talk about the application in just a sec, but one of the things that we're doing is we don't want to structure the application in a way where it's just going to automatically disqualify you, kind of similar to, if you applied for different jobs or things like that, where all of a sudden, boom, it just shuts you out. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is just be able to gather as much information as possible, because, it can be kind of tricky figuring out anticipated graduation rates, and depending on, you could be a third year, but maybe you're still classified as a sophomore. Maybe you're a second year, but you're already classified as a junior. So what we're asking in the application is, will you be classified as a junior in the fall of 2022? We're asking how many hours you've completed by the fall of 2022. And we're also asking your anticipated graduation rate. Because again, even if you're scheduled to graduate in December of 2023, right, we still want to be able to consider you and figure out if there's a way you can fit within this program, right? Maybe you're going to be someone that'll kind of have that job offer waiting for you for that first semester after you graduate. So we're going to gather as much information as possible to then make all those decisions. But the main thing is just go ahead and apply for sure. Monica, was there something else?
That's it for now.
Okay.
Oh, one just came in actually. So this one is from Paloma. Paloma is a microbiology and immunology senior, graduated in summer 2023. They want to know if they're still eligible to apply. And if not, if there's other opportunities for a graduating senior. So summer 2023.
Gotcha. Right. So you're graduating right at the end of that first year of the fellowship. Honestly, I would say the same thing. Go ahead and apply, and we will take a look, right? this will be a competitive process. You know, like we're gonna be looking to select anywhere between 15 and 20 fellows, and we don't know how many applicants we're gonna get. We could get quite a few, right? Who knows if we get 100, right? But what we want is the best possible pool as possible, right? So for that particular student, right, you know, if we look at your application, we're really interested in you. We might follow up with you, right? Because you'll give your email address, and we might just kind of have a conversation and just figure out, you know, where you are with things and how we might be able to make that work. So again, just please go ahead and apply, because we want to try as best as possible to accommodate your timeline and see what we can do for sure. And yes, we have all kinds of other opportunities. I mean, at the most basic level, you know, for all you out there, we want you to just know that SA Works is a home base for you. You can reach out to us for anything. If you're just like, I'm interested in finding a job, we can help you, right? We can connect you. We can figure out a way to get you connected here in San Antonio and in our region. So, all right. Hey, Monica, I'll just go ahead and do the application real quick so that then we can kind of get on to some more questions. But the link to the application, let me back up just a second, because if you see here on the Alamo Fellows page, you'll just see a big yellow sign right here that says apply today. If you click on that, it'll take you to a pretty nice looking application through Greenlight right here, right, where it kind of reviews some of the core requirements, et cetera, and then apply now. So I'll tell you what, instead of clicking apply now, let me just show you a PDF of what more or less the application looks like. We're going to gather some basic demographic information with your name, your birth date, your email, contact info, et cetera. There's some questions here about race and ethnicity, gender, your institution, your major, your GPA. If you have a LinkedIn profile, please include the link, but that is not required for you to be able to submit an application. We have some questions here about if you have participated formally, with SA Works through job shadow or internships during your high school days, making sure that you're first gen. Were you a transfer student, right? We want to gather that information. If you transferred to your current institution from another 4-year, or if you started out at one of the other Alamo colleges or some other community college district throughout the country, that's really valuable information for us. If you have a military or veteran affiliation, if you self-identify as someone with a disability or require accommodations, right? And then what we talked about credit hours, graduation, how you heard about this, et cetera. So real quick here, I'm just going to put on my, professor hat for a second here, but we have 4 open-ended questions for you. Tell us why you're interested. Tell us about your future plans. Tell us what you like about San Antonio. Tell us about why you're interested in pursuing opportunities in STEM, right? There is a 300-word limit on each of these responses, but think of this as an assignment, right? Be as thorough as possible. These essays are going to be read very closely by our working group, right? Industry partners out in the field. And this is a big criteria that we'll have in terms of evaluating applications. So really give it a good shot, draft it on a Word doc, copy and paste it into the application, spend a little bit of time with this. Overall, this application shouldn't take you too much time, but I would definitely put in a little bit there, right? We'd love to see a resume, so you can attach that as a PDF. We're also, it doesn't actually say it here, but you'll see on the application that it says, if you'd like to submit a quick 2 to 3 minute video, right, where you're kind of talking about your interest in the program, you can post that as a URL, through YouTube or Vimeo, right? And so we can take a look at that. But again, that is not a requirement. But if you want to, you totally can submit a brief little 2 or 3 minute video, and then we just have an acknowledgement about, committing to this opportunity over a 2-year time period. All right. All right, Monica, I'm going to stop screen sharing here or not. Okay. All right. How long did it take? Probably about 20 minutes. Excellent. So I hope that gave you some good information. Please, feel free to type away and add a few more things here in the chat if you have any other questions.
Yeah, we had a couple more come in, Paul, one specific to resumes. So the question is, for the resume, is there a specific kind of resume you prefer, like those assessed using ATS, or any other form is fine?
Yeah, I really don't have too much of a preference for the resume. I'm actually good with whatever services you have available through your institution, right? So for instance, if you are at UTSA and you go to the Career Center website, if you download a couple templates of a resume, that should be great. All of your institutions should have services like that. But again, please email me if you have questions and I can dig up something for you. But, whatever you've got handy, whatever is recommended through your university and your career center, that's totally fine with me for sure.
Got one more on eligibility. So Marcos is a current senior in biomedical engineering, graduating this fall. That said, does that already exclude me from applying?
It could, Marco. I would go ahead and submit an application and we can take a look at that. If we feel that we're unable to admit you into Alamo Fellows, we can still put you into our database where we can blast out all kinds of other opportunities that you'll be eligible for here at SA Works. So that's really your call. But if you think you could go ahead and submit an application, that'd be great. But ideally, yeah, that's where it's important for us to gather all that information about your anticipated graduation rate. So please feel free.
And then a few more. So Paloma wants to know, what are some recommendations that could make our application stand out?
Yeah, I think that's why we wanted to make sure and put, a couple of open-ended responses. If you think about, we want to be able to see like, what's the impact that you can really have on our community and in our future. One of the things about our organization is that there's just tremendous economic growth right now. And the reason why we're focusing on STEM is because that is what's generating a lot of these target areas where there's going to be so many high-skilled, high-paying opportunities over the course of time, right? Toyota, Navistar, right? I'm sure if you've seen announcements of DeLorean from Back to the Future, right? They're coming to town. So there's going to be just a lot of organizations, and that's where we are pretty well positioned. Is the business development team is responsible for actually recruiting a lot of those companies into our community. So being able to talk about it in terms of your passion for the city, how you want to see it grow, how you want to see it change, what are the things that we really need to be able to be attuned to as you achieve your career, right, and make that happen. We'd love to read about all of that, even from a place standpoint. What do you love about our city? About the Pearl, about the Spurs, about Fiesta, about, just all kinds of things, all these fun things that we have, in our community and in our city. We'd love to hear about all of that as well. And I think from a first gen standpoint, what's your journey been like? Where are you from? What's it been like, being a trailblazer and a leader in your community and your family? What is it that you want to really accomplish? That's why for us, we want to know about things like if you were a transfer student, right? That shows a lot of perseverance, seeing that you've not only navigated one institution, you've been able to navigate multiple institutions. And I can tell you that a lot of industry partners and employers are very interested in those kinds of skill sets, right? So yeah, that's a short answer to that. Really view it as a way to showcase your experience and who you are. Anything else?
One more come in from Fernando. Fernando says, I'm classified as a sophomore for fall 2022. Would you recommend waiting to apply until I'm a junior? And what can I do as of now to prepare for that application?
Yeah, I think if you're going to be classified as a sophomore in fall 2022, I think, again, it's really up to you if you want to submit an application, but if you're going to be a sophomore in fall 2022, you've completed somewhere around 30 credit hours by then, perhaps. You have an anticipated graduation date, right, of, I can't do the math, spring 2025 or something like that, right? Perhaps you're right. You might be 1 year away, right, from preparing for this application. I would say just continuing to work hard through your sophomore year, continuing to find experiential learning opportunities, again, through your career center, right? Whether that's through a course or you find, different micro credentialing experiences and digital badging in your institutions. A lot of those kinds of really professionally based experiences can be very, very helpful, because that just adds for your story and what you've been able to do, what you've been able to learn, where your interests are, but also you're able to put a couple of things on that resume, that are kind of showing that you're building those kinds of credentials towards your future. Aside from that, Monica, do you think I've left anything else out?
No, I think the only thing I would say is, or reiterate, is definitely use the Career Center at your institution, the Writing Center, as you're filling out your application, working on your resume. For your resume specifically, even if you haven't held an internship before or a job, right? If you've had volunteer experience, leadership experience on campus, that's really valuable to know and write about, and including your resume, because it gives us a glimpse into, who you are and what you're passionate about.
Sounds great. Yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. So again, I'm just going to make sure I couldn't find the chat tab in this panel version of Zoom here, but yeah, I'm at paul@greatersatx.com. Please send me an email if you have any questions at all. But I really look forward to seeing everybody's application. And again, you've got until June 13th. So deadline June 13th. Don't feel like you got to get this application done in, tonight, right? Like, take your time, take a look at it. I believe the application has a save and continue function. So if you don't finish it in one sitting, you can close out, log back in, and continue there. Think about typing those open-ended responses into a Word doc and then copying and pasting them into the application. But as I mentioned, that's a great space for you to just kind of showcase, who you are as part of this application. And just let us both know if you have any questions at all. And please feel free to share this opportunity with any of your colleagues and friends at your institution. So yeah, that's all I have from me. Monica, you have anything else to add at all?
That's all. Thank you again for joining us this evening. We appreciate your time. Can't wait to read all of your applications.
Outstanding. Yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody's application and learning more about you. Again, this will be an inaugural class. This will be the absolute first cohort, so, think about when you have presentations in class, and you have the opportunity to be the guinea pig. Usually it's a good idea to be the guinea pig, right? Good things can happen. So if you feel like it's a good fit and you're interested, go ahead and submit an application. I guess the only other thing I want to add is, I know how busy your lives are, that you're running around doing 100 different things during the course of a semester and a school year, we will work with you to make sure that you can still do everything that you need to do, that you stay on top of your schoolwork. We will be able to facilitate your relationships with your internship sites to make sure that they're really accommodating your academics, other things you have going on, and really having some of that flexibility that you might need. So we'll be there for you every step of the way. So really appreciate it. All of you, thanks so much for attending.
For your time.
Thanks for your time, Monica, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good luck, everybody. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great evening. Thank you. Thanks, Monica. Take care.